Trump often does things that just make sense. It's one of the reasons why we voted for him, because he will do things that, his predecessor should have done, like not sending weapons to Ukraine. Well, that's not entirely what he's doing. He's diverting a shitload of anti drone missiles away from Ukraine. He does seem to be trying to divest us from Ukraine. So that's a good thing. But yeah, no, I voted for this. Totally voted for this. Trump admin diverted 20,000 anti drone missiles it promised to Ukraine and sent it to U.S. troops, Zelensky says. Ha! Now remember, Zelensky is a fucking liar, so it's entirely possible that, this just flat out isn't true. But if it is, base Trump, cringe Zelensky. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that the Trump administration diverted 20,000 anti drone missiles originally meant for Kiev to American forces in the Middle East. Yeah, because how dare we arm our people before we arm your people? Zelensky revealed Sunday he had secured a deal for the missiles under the Biden administration to counterattack Moscow's deadly Iranian design Shahed drones, to make sure I pronounce that right, which have been at the center of Russia's mass bombardment campaign. We have big problems with Shahed, Zelensky told ABC News this week. We counted on this project 20,000 missiles, anti Shahed missiles. It was not expensive, but it's special technology. I don't know the price of these anti drone missiles, but I bet they were pretty fucking expensive. The diversion of the weapons was first reported by the Wall Street Journal last week, with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reportedly issuing an urgent call to redirect weapons on June 4th away from the Ukraine. The missiles were instead sent off to American forces in the Middle East as the U.S. braces for possible conflict with Iran over the stalled nuclear deal, as well as the Houthi rebel group in Yemen, according to the Wall Street Journal. Well, we're trying to work that out with Yemen, with the Houthis, and, we'll see how that goes. I really don't want us to go to war with Iran. I would prefer if we didn't. We'll see what happens, but I would prefer if we did not do that. I was okay with bombing Houthis because Houthis attack our ships. So, you know, whatever. But but he's trying to work that out with the Houthis, try to come to some kind of peaceful resolution. Especially like if you're a Houthi and you saw like the absolute devastation that Trump was able to wrought in just a few days, like surely you got to be willing to come to the table and try to negotiate some peace. The order also coincided with Hegseth's absence from the most recent Ukraine Defense Contract Group meeting, which was the first time a DoD chief missed the conference since Russia began its invasion in 2022. Under Hegseth and Trump, the U.S. has not approved any new military aid packages to Ukraine, with the administration previously putting a temporary halt on weapon shipments earlier this year. With Moscow ramping up its drone and missile strikes against Ukraine, Zelensky has called on the U.S. to reaffirm its support for Kiev and for President Trump to not give up on America's role mediating the strained ceasefire efforts. I mean, it's abundantly clear to me that neither side is going to really, like, they're not going to come to. I do believe Russia would probably come to the table if, Ukraine would agree to give up Donbass, but they're not going to do it. And I mean, even if like I said, like even if I conceded that it is probably not like a good thing that Russia just kind of walked into sovereign Ukrainian territory and took it, even though the people there had, repeatedly made overtures to join the Russian Federation and that the Ukrainians were currently fighting a civil war against ethnic Russians in the area, like say that I conceded that, the fact of the matter is Ukraine is not going to beat Russia, not without our help. And the people of the United States do not wish to help them anymore. So he needs to just make peace with himself with the fact that Donbass is gone. He's never going to get it back, and that he needs to just concede if he wants this to end. Fuck, Trump looks very unhappy in that picture at UFC 316. Is that Tyson behind them? Is that Tyson right there? I think that's Tyson. I can't really tell. I'm convinced that the President of the United States has all the powers and enough leverage to step up, Zelensky said, adding that Ukraine already backs the 30-day ceasefire deal proposed by the U.S. He also rejected Trump's latest characterization of the war as two young children fighting like crazy in a playground. Quote, "We are not kids with Putin at the playground in the park. This is why I'm saying he is a murderer who came to this park to kill the kids," he said. Well, that's yeah. See, and that's what people say when it's like you don't want to like you don't want peace, Zelensky. You want to stay on the American tit because it has massively enriched you. So you don't want that shit to stop anytime soon, which means you don't want this war to stop anytime soon. Along with renewed military aid, Ukraine is pushing the U.S. to join the rest of the world in imposing new economic sanctions against Moscow. Zelensky maintains that sanctions from the U.S. will hurt Moscow the hardest as he backed a proposal from Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina who sucks and everybody hates him, to slap 500% tariffs on any nation that buys Russian energy products. So, most of Europe. So, let's just alienate every other European country on behalf of a corrupt shithole like Ukraine. Yeah, no. Not concerned at all. I think that we need to stop funding this war. Just stop it altogether. Diverting weapons shipments away. I don't care what you know. I don't care what agreements you had with the Biden administration. The Biden administration is gone. So simple as just no. This. If you are not willing to come to the table, and if Putin's not willing to come to the table, America should just put its hands up and say we're not involved in this anymore, and then just let you get steamrolled. But yeah, no, if you agree or disagree, feel free to let me know in the comments below and like the video and follow my links to all my alt channels and sub there. Follow me on X for all of my shit takes. Come check out my gaming streams on Clown World Gaming 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Saturdays. Check out my my podcast, Clown World Chronicles, which is streams Saturday mornings from 8 to 10, 10:30, somewhere in there, usually. I'm pretty good about keeping it within that time. So, yeah, by all means, throw me a bone.